Still good morning. Good morning and welcome to today's webinar, The 7 Habits of Successful Content Marketers. One of the habits of successful content marketers is that they don't try and use Google Hangouts on air. There we go. So take a tip from me. We've been experimenting with this for a couple of months now, and we've had some interesting experiences. But you know what? Sometimes in order to know if the tools work, you have to have a really good play with them. 9 times out of 10, it's been fabulous. So apologies for the shaky scenery this morning, but we'll get on with the talk now. So today's webinar, this is what I'd like to talk to you about. So we're going to look at these people who've done really well with content marketing. You know, some of these people have done extremely well with content marketing, are making tens, hundreds, even millions and millions of pounds out of their businesses. But it's also something that is relevant to businesses of any size, any sector, and whatever you're planning to do. So whether you're actually planning to make a career out of becoming a content marketer, say a podcaster or a blogger or an online trainer, or you just want to see, learn from the pros, learn some tricks on how to make content marketing really succeed for you, then I hope I can share some insights with you in the next half hour. So we'll talk very briefly about how content marketing is different. Then we'll go into some of the habits that these really successful people can demonstrate to us. And then think about so how are you going to measure success? What does it look like if you've been successful with the content marketing that you're doing? We've had a few questions from people today, which I'll tackle in the Q&A. Thank you for those. But obviously, if I don't manage to cover what you're interested in today, just drop me a line. Hit the reply button in the emails that you've been receiving. Our emails come from us. We don't come from a no reply at. So if you want to get in touch with us, you just hit reply anytime, and we're always happy to answer questions. Okay, so let's dive in. So what is content marketing? Well, it's different to traditional marketing. Traditional marketing, a lot of it was print. Let's face it, a lot of it was direct mail. A lot of it was offline and face-to-face. And that is still really, really important. So it doesn't replace those other things that you've been doing. Those are still really valuable. But it's a kind of right time, right place, right person thing. Content marketing is self-published content. So it's self-published videos, self-published articles, self-published images, updates, most importantly, news. So you're not having to buy media space on a radio station or in print media. You're not having to go through a public relations professional or through the journalist or the editor in order to get your story online. Activities are still really valuable. PR is still a really valuable activity. But sometimes, what you want to tell people doesn't constitute a really big story. It wouldn't get into print, but we have all these wonderful places now where we can share our stuff. So it's self-published content, things you can publish yourself. It's different to traditional marketing in that it's very, very customer focused. It's very user focused. You're not trying to sell them stuff. You're trying to build a relationship. You're trying to educate them, inform them, entertain them. We all love to laugh. And also just to kind of build trust, be a little bit more open-handed with what you do and how you work. It's how we differentiate ourselves as well from others in the marketplace. Because, we might all be selling the same service or the same software or the same product, but we might be very different as businesses. Our values may be different. The experience of working with us may be different. And that's often what people remember about you. And that's why they come back. Not because you were 5p cheaper or you finished an hour earlier. So where do you get the ideas from? Well, we've already done a previous webinar on why your sales team holds the key to content marketing. But it's often from those conversations with customers. It's customer feedback, the questions people ask you regularly, things that people say in surveys. What are they saying to the sales team? And it's the stuff everybody wants to know. It's the tricky questions. How much does it cost? What happens if it breaks? What's your customer service policy like? All of these things people want to know. And because you can publish it yourself, you've got all sorts of different ways and different places to answer those questions. So why does that matter? Well, your customer journey has changed dramatically. In the last 20 years, we've seen the internet come on board. We've seen digital come on board. We've seen a proliferation of digital channels and digital media. You can now consume any kind of news, information, entertainment, anywhere in your house, anywhere in the car, just about anywhere on any device you choose. That could be stuff that was recorded 25 years ago. It could be stuff that's live stream video. It's being recorded right this minute. Your customer's journey has changed. They look in so many different places, not just for what you say about yourself, but what other people are saying about you. And if what they're buying from you is something that's new to them, or they've never bought it online, they need an awful lot of reassurance. They're going to be looking in lots and lots of different places. So it's not a straight journey anymore. It's a bit more like Flight of the Bumblebee. This is why content is king. Content helps you with the buyer journey. It helps you with the different kinds of information that people need at different stages in their decision making. So social media, for example, that might just be a little bit of brand awareness. They didn't know you existed and they didn't know you did what you do. But the closer and closer the customer gets to making a decision, the more they need information that's really tailored to them. It's relevant to them. It's relevant to the purchase that they're looking to make, the decision they're trying to make. It's not boring, because let's face it, people don't spend any time with stuff that's dull. Timely is twofold. Timely is, it's hit them at the right time for them. They're looking to buy that thing right now or pretty soon. So it's the right time in their buyer journey. But you know what? Increasingly, it's that it came into their inbox or it came before their eyes at the right time of the day, on the right day of that week. And we do know that, when we're really busy, we might be going through our inbox thinking, delete, delete, delete. It's Friday afternoon. I want to get out of the office. So timely can also be the other things that you're competing with that person's trying to do in that particular piece of time. Finally, entertaining. You know what? We love to be made to laugh, and we love to be engaged with the stuff that we're reading. Everybody loves revelations and things that they didn't know about, but also even in a B2B purchase, there's an emotional connection. We have a set of emotional needs that need to be met, even when it's a purchase for our business or for the colleagues in our workplace. And 9 times out of 10, people will buy from a business or a brand because they like them. They like the look of them, they've liked dealing with them, and they feel trustworthy. So all these things are really important. But this is also a really handy little acronym to remember. RITE, right content, relevant, interesting, timely, and entertaining. So 7 habits of successful content marketers. Now, this is a combination of the kind of people who've inspired me over the last 4 or 5 years, people who still inspire me in the world of content marketing, I must be honest with you. But these are also people that demonstrate, through living it, that this is actually working for them. It's actually worked for the businesses that they run. And then there will be a few kind of tools and tactics for how these people have managed to scale some of the things that they do. And I'm hoping that there'll be things that you can pick up along the way. Now, we do have a little checklist that will be coming to you after today's session. So it's the 7 habits checklist. So look out for that in your inbox. But, feel free to take some notes as we're going along. So the first thing that you need to remember is tell them what they want to know. And do it often. Don't tell them what you want them to hear. Tell them what they want to know. Because if they feel it's a strong selling message, they'll just switch off. So one of the people that I most admire in the world of content marketing is Mr. Marcus Sheridan. He has a podcast and a blog, The Sales Lion. He's really, really good value. He's a really smart man. And he had a pool business that was really failing in the USA at the height of the recession. And they were just about to hit the skids. and they needed something really dramatic in order to turn the business around. And so he got into blogging. He didn't know anything about it, but he was a natural salesman. He knew what the customer was asking. He knew what people wanted to know. He'd spent hours talking to his customers and answering their questions. So he had that intimate knowledge of his customers. So he just started writing little articles online, posting them on their website about the kind of questions people have about what type of liner, what size of pool, what depth does it need to be? Is our backyard suitable for this? What about climate? What about cleaning? How are we going to maintain this? Over time, he went down into the detail of those questions and started putting a lot of content out. Around that time, he started experimenting with keywords and search engine optimization. And in the end, even when he would be doing maybe like a comparison post, and maybe even comparing his products with the competitors, or even his business with the competitors, time and time again, it was his business that came at the top of Google search. Now he's gone on to create a consulting business out of this and a platform as well, but he still works in the business as well. So things you need to think about as well with content. It isn't just the stuff that you're publishing and pushing out into the wider world, or even publishing on a third-party platform like LinkedIn or Facebook. It's also the stuff that's on your own website. So think about how well you address regular common questions that you get from your customers on your website. And if you're not doing that yet, that's a really good starting point for what to blog about and what to talk about in social media. So the second habit is that of planning. Now, I've worked in marketing for many years, and most marketers, let's face it, love a plan. We love a tick list. We love actions. We love to get it all down on paper and then have a nice, tidy plan. And then our colleagues come along and mess it all up for us because they need things right now. But we love to plan. Planning is really important because planning enables you to work out what resources you're going to need and when in the future. Those resources could be information. They could be insight from colleagues within your team. They could be photos from a key trade show that the rest of the team went to. They could be video testimonials that the salespeople have taken when they were last with a client. All of this stuff can take a while to create. But also if you're getting anything original made, like video or audio, or perhaps a really nice download that you can have designed for your website, these things take time. But also you need to think about your editorial calendar. You need to think about your business calendar. What does your business year look like? What are those stories that are going to happen at certain times of the year? Because if you can start to plan out that year, plan out that calendar, you can make sure that not only have you planned to deliver the right content at the right time of year, but you've also made sure that you've resourced what you're going to need in order to create those things. So planning is really, really important. So where do we start? We've got to think about who we're writing for. You've got to think about the mindset of your customer. How do they feel at the moment? How do you want them to feel? What are their expectations? So thinking about your customer, your target customer, is the starting point of any marketing. It isn't necessarily what are we trying to sell to them, it's what are they looking to buy and how do we match that? Then thinking about what do they care about. Great place for that kind of information obviously is online search. You might be using some social listening tools, even things like Twitter analytics, or just looking at how the customers, the connections within your community, the kind of topics that they're discussing on social media or online, things that people are talking about around you might become topical. So if you're conducting some keyword research around those, that's really, really important. But your keyword research always needs to have an overlay of proper keywords, and then what does the customer call it? What did they call us? What did they think we do? So if you can have a nice mixture of those, this is the kind of stuff that can guide the topics you discuss, but also the language that you use in those pieces of content. Then thinking about the stories that will connect you. Some of those might be around your business year, your industry year, key events within your industry or sector. Some of it might even be things that are going on in the wider world. Let's face it, we, as always, are living in very, very interesting times. And whilst most of us tend to steer clear of, going too far off the reservation when it comes to our own opinions, these are also things that are going to be shaping your customer's mindset. These are going to be concerns, and acknowledging these concerns is really important. It makes you human to them. Finally, making it easy to find and share. Let's face it, if no one can find that beautiful blog that you spent 3 weeks crafting and you finally popped onto your website, which I'm afraid, guys, is kind of how a lot of us write. We're busy and the creative process doesn't necessarily come naturally. But you really want to get a good bang for your bucks out of any content that you're creating. So making sure that it's really well optimized is important so that it's easy to find, but then getting out almost like a good little journey around social media, leaving a little trail of links and invitations and suggestions and teasers that will get people to come back to your website and consume that lovely piece of content you've created is essential. Okay, so it's just thinking about this bigger activity that you need to undertake. So try not to be too scattergun with your social media and with your content marketing. You'll find big businesses all have a plan. They all have a content plan. How do you manage it? Okay, so where are you going to put all of this information once you've got your plan or once you're building your plan? Well, you'll be really pleased to know that even the great and the good are all using a spreadsheet, because anything else is just too hard to change and update. You don't want something that's really cumbersome. So Excel or Numbers is absolutely fine. Just the key information that you need on there. What are you using in terms of tools? Again, a lot of people are going to start with Hootsuite or Buffer or TweetDeck, and they probably won't move on from them, because most of you are going to be doing content marketing to support your business. You've got a growing business. It isn't your business. So it's a support mechanism, and you just need something that's going to help you get your content in front of people's eyes at the time you really wanted them to see it, rather than, oh my goodness, I forgot to send that tweet. Okay. And then finally, Twitter, best social listening tool around. If you can take the time to go in, just listen and search around some of those hashtags and the topics and see people's sentiment, how they feel about things, what they're talking about. Publishing and management tools. These are some that I've used in the past and that we've used with my colleagues that we like and we sometimes recommend to people. But all of them have, apart from Edgar, they have a free version. And you can stay on the free version forever. You don't need to go to paid if you don't need to scale, okay? But having a publishing or scheduling tool is essential if you're going to get your stuff out repeatedly over time and at the right time. Bigger boys and girls are using marketing automation. Now, I have misgivings about marketing automation because it's very costly and it requires a much greater level of maintenance and input from the client than the client ever thought possible. And also, they're really, really expensive. So you need to be expecting a very, very big turnover for this to be a worthwhile investment for you. But if this is where you see the business going in the next year or so, if you see that you're going to need something like this, then go and have a good look around online and compare what's out there. So just to remind you, there'll be a little freebie that comes at the end of this webinar, and that will be the 7 Habits checklist. So number 3, be efficient. Be efficient because you don't have all the time in the world. You've got everything else that you do in your business. So don't create content in a scattergun way. You think about maybe a few big things that you're going to do, either each month or each quarter. You might have a big topic that you're going to tackle this spring or in the autumn. And around that, you can create much smaller blogs. You can create slide decks for slide share. You can create tons and tons of social media posts. And you can maybe do some smaller blogs that go onto LinkedIn or they go onto Facebook. But it gives you a greater reach for one big piece of work, and it's a much more efficient use of your time. So you might want to consider this as your hero content, you know, and that this is something that you would invest perhaps even a bit of time in. But this could be like a big video project for your business, or perhaps a course that you're creating or something like that. But make sure that you use absolutely every aspect of it and go into the detail, go into the intricate detail of it when you're sharing it in social media. Find your niche, the smaller, the better. Because most of us cannot be all things to all men and women. Most of us are really good at a few things. And we're most successful when we're able to do those few things really well for people who really appreciate what we can do for them. So finding your niche is really, really important. Because this is the world online. You know, there are dozens of social media channels. There are hundreds of social media channels. But what are you good at? And where is your community? You may find that you just need to be on Pinterest, for example, or you just need to be on LinkedIn. You may find that there's an online forum for the sector that you work in or an industry that you're targeting, and that's actually where everybody hangs out. So if you can create a presence in just a few places, but it's a really strong presence and people really trust you and they value what you have to say, you'll get much further than trying to be absolutely everywhere, trying to reach every different type of demographic on every platform. But it's really interesting as well when you talk to people about, you know, so which bloggers do you like? Which newsletters do you subscribe to? Where are you getting your information about what's changing in marketing or in your industry? 9 times out of 10, you have never heard of the people that they love and rave about. And then it's really weird. They've never heard of any of the people that you love or rave about. And what we found with this proliferation of digital media and all these different ways now of marketing is that you've got a whole new breed of celebrity, completely different. But this might be a blogger celebrity or a vlogger celebrity. People like Zoella, PewDiePie, Mark Schaefer, John Lee Dumas. I could rattle off a load of names to you. You might have heard of some of them. Your kids might have heard of more of them. It's very, very small. It's very niche. But what you find is you'll have a really passionate audience. It's a smaller one, but it's a really passionate audience around these celebrities or around these people who we consider to be thought leaders. But that passionate audience is prepared to part with money on a regular basis. So it's not like the old days of advertising and 3 TV channels and a few media where you had to broadcast the same message to absolutely everybody and hope that somebody out there was listening. Now you're getting more niche, you're getting more focused, you're very clear about who you are and who you can serve. And then when they find you, they stick with you because they love what you have to say and you have changed their life in some way for the better. Mastering social media is really important because that is your distribution channel. Unless you want to be paying for print advertising, radio, TV, you've got to get your stuff in front of people's eyes in some way. And Twitter is top of the pops in terms of social media because it's B2B, it's B2C, it's B2G, it's G2B. It's absolutely every marketplace, every sector. You could be a research scientist, you could be a classical musician, you could be a mummy blogger living in the outback in Australia. Everybody's on Twitter. They're all discussing the things that they love and care about. And the barriers to entry are very low. And more importantly, the barriers to connection are really low. It's very easy to connect with people around the topics and themes that you care about. The others, Facebook, I think most B2B businesses can have a presence there. Probably not going to find your marketplace there. Likewise, if you're strongly B2C, LinkedIn may not be for you. But YouTube in the middle is for everybody. YouTube is our archive. It's our entertainment. It's where we go to educate ourselves, to learn. It's where the courses sit and the how-to videos, all this stuff that we love, but also every TV program you've ever watched. And then those funny videos that people have made of the kids falling off of bicycles. So master Twitter and then be selective about the other channels that you're going to be on. Number 6, the 80-20 rule. I do love Pareto. That law applies to just about everything in life, but as with everything in marketing and everything in business, it also relates beautifully to content marketing. It doesn't have to be all your own work. I would definitely say if you're sharing somebody else's work, give them a shout out. If you can share it from their platform, even better. Because if they're a big blogger or they're a big content marketer or an influencer, they'll really be grateful that you're sharing their stuff with your audience. But you can build a really big following in social media, and you can build a big following full stop online with carefully selected, good quality content that somebody else created. And let's face it, we can't all be good at absolutely everything, and we can't all be good at absolutely every kind of content. You may not want to have a podcast. It may not work for your industry. You may not enjoy writing. You may like to get the video camera out and tell stories that way. We have different styles ourselves, but our customers, they're going to want a range of content and a range of styles. So perhaps you can fill the gaps in your skill set with the great content that other people have created. It's also really good to go and like other people's stuff, to connect with other people, to follow them. Think about the recommendations that you can give people rather than always asking for stuff for yourself. There's a huge amount of reciprocity that goes on in this content marketing world because let's face it, we are all busy trying to reach those target customers. And they might sit in somebody else's Twitter list or they might sit in somebody else's LinkedIn connections. So the 4-1-1 rule or 80-20, depending on the ratios that you prefer, the 4-1-1 rule is basically for every 4 pieces of other people's good quality content, think of creating 1 piece that's informative about you or educational, and then maybe just 1 piece that's a little bit more salesy and promotional. Because if it's just sell, people will switch you off. Mark Schaefer is somebody who has, he's an educator, he's a lecturer at university, a writer, a blogger, a podcaster. He's now a blabber, I think, most recently. He's written many books on content marketing and social media. He does masterclasses. He's a one-man band. He works with a VA, but he has managed to create a massive reach for himself, a massive audience. And I'm hoping also a massive income level because he's a really, really smart man and we've all learned a great deal from him. So depending on the sector you're in, depending on the type of business you've got, and also depending on how big and hairy and scary your goals are, you might be aspiring to develop an income stream from content marketing. And you can. There are many people who are doing this successfully. It might be an extension to what you already do, or it might be the business of the future for you. So somebody who has managed to completely wipe the floor with this is Mr. Pat Flynn. He's only a young guy. He's had his podcast, I think, for about 3 or 4 years, Smart Passive Income. He's an interesting fella because I think he does a daily podcast interview, but he's managed to monetize that podcast into all sorts of training and all sorts of online products that he can sell to people. But he's also managed to monetize his podcast by getting sponsors and advertisers and all that kind of thing. But he calls himself the crash test dummy of online business. That's really clever because it makes him really, really approachable. He's not standing there saying, guys, I'm the expert. You know nothing. You must listen to me. He's saying, guys, I've experienced this. I can save you time, money, heartache. I can humanize this for you. And this is what we want of our online teachers, let's face it. So he'll experiment with all sorts of things, but then he's managed to work out how to make a business out of this. But also, he gets people who come onto his talk show, and they say how they've managed to make money out of passive income. Basically, passive income is anything that you've got on your website or online that is making you money whilst you sleep. Goodness me, wouldn't that be wonderful? Well, we'll be launching our own online courses this autumn, so I'll let you know how that goes, and I'll certainly let you know when we launch the courses. But sometimes it's a way to scale what you do and reach a wider audience, either geographically or perhaps, conceptually. But what's really clever about Pat Flynn and a couple of the other big podcasters is that they share their income. So it's very transparent. But my God, that's really inspiring. If I was thinking of doing this, I might be impressed by somebody who's managed to make 1.629 million in the last 12 months out of what's basically a talk radio show. Clever guy. So what might you look at? What different content formats might work for your business? Well, there are ebooks. You can sell your ebooks. Many of my clients are published authors. There'll be a physical version of the book, but let's face it, that's costly. The online version of the book, the books are pretty easy to publish nowadays, but the online version of the book can be sold on Amazon all over the world, and it means that people can reach it. They can download it onto a Kindle or a reading device. They can consume it anywhere in the world, any time of the day or night. And the income levels per book are not massive. But if you really make it big, you can earn a great deal of money out of this. Podcasts, some are free, some are subscription-based. They can, if you build a big audience, you can attract sponsorship to it. You can attract advertising income. Online courses, if you're a trainer or you know how to do something and others will pay you to learn how to do that as well. So online courses are a fantastic way to scale what you do. You've tried something, it works, people have loved it, but you now want to take it to a bigger audience. Virtual coaching can be done via Skype, can be done via Google Hangout. And I have clients who coach clients all over the world in their time zone. And, with the online payment mechanisms that we have now, you can be prepaid for a series of coaching sessions, and you might be earning hundreds of pounds per hour. Webinars are interesting. Our webinars are intended to be educational. I'm a teacher and a trainer, and I love sharing marketing with anybody that will listen to me, basically. But ours are free and open access. But many webinars will actually be the onboarding process for a new purchase. They might be part of the sales process for a new purchase. And if you've looked at any kind of software investment in the last few years, chances are a webinar will have been part of that journey, because it's the opportunity for show and tell. You can demonstrate all sorts of things within the webinar. So presentation format like this, or there could be face to camera, there could be a demonstration of how the product works. Online subscriptions, online membership organizations, gated content, where somebody knows they've consumed some of your free stuff, they know that they like what you do. And this can even be things like blogs, videos, it can be ebooks, all sorts of things that sit behind that paywall. Low-level subscription a lot of the time, but you're looking for the numbers. You build a number of people who want to subscribe to your stuff, and then that is earning you income from something that's already there and available online. Of course, e-commerce. So you may not be looking to create content for people to buy, but you may just have some lovely products that you want people to see. So content marketing will help you get the messages out there, but also build trust in you, because trust online is at the lowest level ever. We've all been fleeced too many times by stuff we bought online. So building trust, demonstrating that your stuff is really good, demonstrating that customers are really happy with you, testimonials, all of these things. It's all part of content marketing. It will help to build trust in you. So results of successful content marketing are obviously the kind of the follower metrics. How big is your audience? Obviously, if you're going for sponsorship, people are going to look and see how big your audience is. They'll want to know this stuff. But it might earn you backlinks as well. And if those backlinks are from a really well-regarded website, then that gets you up the Google rankings, because that's the kind of thing that Google likes. Increased comments. People look at the comments, especially around a blog or a video or something. People look at the comments because that's what engages them. That engages them. That's often what gets them to take a closer look. But in terms of the web world, content marketing drives traffic to your website. That's one of the main reasons why we do it. You're sending out an invitation to come back to your place for a great party. That's how it works. So if you've got good content on your website, people will spend longer, they'll look at more pages. They will develop a deeper connection with you. And ultimately, they will buy more from you. So we've had a couple of questions that have come through. So I'm just going to address those now. So one of the questions I think was getting ideas about what to write about, where to get inspiration from. So hopefully I've covered a little bit of that in this webinar. We cover it in more detail in the Why Your Sales Team Holds the Key to Content Marketing. But something else I would recommend that you do is, chances are if you've been in business for a while, you have amassed a kind of a back catalogue, brochures, web copy, maybe press releases, sales proposals, customer feedback, and how you've described what you do to people in a variety of formats. You may even have content you've created, videos or audio, or maybe some downloads that you've created. So the first place to start with that, I would recommend, is to conduct an audit. Get everything together, get it in one place, either online or offline, and start to look at all of the things that you've been saying about yourself. And maybe reword some of those things. The most important word in marketing is you. It's not me, we, I. It's you, because your customer wants to know what's in it for them. What is the benefit to them of working with you, buying from you, okay? So maybe look at the stuff you've already created and rephrase it and think about, okay, if I was talking about this to a customer and I was saying, so why you might be interested in this is X, Y, Z. This is the benefit of this to you. That's a really good starting point. For all of us, myself included, and everybody I know, the blank page is a really tough place to start. It's much easier if you're building on something that you want to edit and modify in some way. So take that as a good starting point and find out what customers are saying. So if you've done any surveys, if you've spoken to customers recently, go back through emails. What do customers say about you, your products, services, and most importantly, what it's like working with you? What is it like doing business with you? That will give you an idea of why they picked you, okay? So that would be my recommendations on where to start. Another question that we've had is about time. Content marketing, it is a time-consuming activity. Social media is time-consuming. Marketing's time-consuming. Running a business is time-consuming, and we are all busy. So if you think back to being efficient and having a plan, and then deciding how you're going to share and publish all the links, then my biggest recommendation is to try and batch your activities. Carve out some time in your diary, even if it's a day a month, that you're going to focus down on creating a nice, big, juicy piece of content that you can then slice and dice and decide how you'll publish the links to that across social media. Where is it going to sit? Can you find a nice image to go with it if it's a blog? Could you record it to your camera and upload it to Facebook, for example? What could you do in terms of all the different ways that you could spread the message about that piece of content? But batching, planning and scheduling are the keys to success, because otherwise you'll find that you've frittered your time away. You don't really feel as though you have something that you're proud of. You know what? It's really important to feel proud of your content, because then you share it. It's a bit like feeling proud about your website. People who hate their websites never drive traffic to their websites. And I see this with clients time and time again. They'll say, don't look at the website. It's awful. Okay? So create content that you love as well. And then you feel much better about driving traffic to it. And then the third question was one that I think that we've already covered in this topic. Now, mindful of the time, so I'm going to just move on, and in closing, just to recap. So these 7 habits, some of them are skills, but actually some of them are just ways of managing yourself and ways of managing your time. So being a good communicator, putting yourself in your customer's shoes and in their mindset, it's really, really important. Forget what you're trying to sell. Find out what they are looking for, because they're not looking for a named product or service. They're looking for a solution, or maybe resolution, or to feel differently. Okay, what are they after? And then do it regularly. Don't just do it in a scattergun approach. Whatever you're going to do it regularly, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever, but do it regularly. Be efficient. Follow a plan. Create a plan and follow it. Don't make an ambitious plan or too ambitious plan, because you know you won't follow it. But follow a plan that you know you can do, and then put that time in your diary, put it in your calendar, and make sure that you actually spend that time doing that activity. One of the things about planning, and I've found this time and again with clients, once you've got a plan, you know what you want to write about, the universe starts to deliver. You'll find bits and bobs on that topic all over the place, and then someone will mention something to you, and then you'll come across something in the newspaper and you'll think, oh, I'm ready to write it now. Okay, so let your subconscious do some of the work for you. Being a specialist has huge value. Having a niche has huge value. You will be smaller, you will be a smaller business, but you'll be really good at what you do, and you will be far more competitive if you can inhabit your niche. Master social media. Twitter is fun as well as being where world news breaks nowadays. Let's face it, guys. It's also the second screen. It interacts with all of our radio programs, TV programs we're watching. You know, we're encouraged to engage via Twitter, and start using it on your mobile phone, guys, too. Okay, so start uploading stuff, sharing stuff via Twitter. If you can add images in or short video, makes it a bit more colorful. The 80-20 rule. Don't try and run yourselves ragged and do all of this stuff yourself, especially when there are so many people out there who will be creating really good quality and beautifully finished content on the topics you want to discuss and share. Don't worry that people will think that they're the expert and not you. They will just thank you for having shared it with them. This is something that I've done in my business for the last 3 years. And it's really helped me to grow my social media following at a time when I've been really busy teaching, training, consulting, and I haven't had time to spend on creating vast volumes of content. But I know that these people have really good stuff, and I'm not going to hold that back just because I didn't create it myself. But it's also put me in touch now with all of the key influencers in my industry. So I'm personally connected with all of these people now. And you know, if I retweet their stuff, I get a shout out from them. These influencers in your space, in your market, will do the same for you. And they'll share your stuff to their massive, great audiences. You know, this is other people's audiences. They have terrific value. So there's a long-term strategy behind this one as well. Earn active passive income with RITE content. So think about, is there something that you do that you could create an online version of? Because if there is, then this could be an opportunity for you to have a business that runs alongside your current business. In the future, this may be your business. If you'd like to know more about future webinars, we run them on a monthly basis. Our next webinar will be on social media and how to take a strategic approach to social media marketing, because let's face it, it's a busy, busy topic area. If you'd like to join a live training session, we do have an offer on today. So if you just click on the link below the webinar screen, you'll go through to our content marketing workshops, and we also do content marketing at the next level. We'd love to see you on a live training session. But if you can't get out of the office or you're not ready yet, our bite-sized online courses launch in autumn 2016. And our first course will be all about content marketing and how to get started. We'll be sending out the 7 Habits for Success download tomorrow. And this is me, just a little bit about me. Because let's face it, I am not the topic of this webinar. Content marketing and how you guys can succeed as content marketers is the topic. So go forth, create, entertain, be relevant, be interesting, and be timely. But most of all, keep in touch. And if you ever have questions about the content that you want to create, or you even want a bit of friendly feedback, please get in touch. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Bye.